Good morning to you at home. From time to time, we like to check in with our lawmakers to see what they are doing for you on Capitol Hill. Now, this morning, we are talking live with Congressman Jeff Denham, who represents the 19th Congressional District. Hey, Congressman Denham.
Good morning.
Good morning. Recently, you proposed a bill there on Capitol Hill to help out with federal disasters. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I actually chair the committee that oversees emergency management, FEMA. We've held a couple of different hearings, and the two main issues that came out of those hearings is, first of all, FEMA needs to be reauthorized. We need to make sure we reauthorize the bill so that we have ongoing spending regardless of what disaster may happen across the nation. And the second bill is an IPAWS bill dealing with the public alert warning system. So what we just saw in Yosemite, I was up in Yosemite during that fire, and you know, there was no way for people to know. You might have been commuting in, commuting out. You might get trapped in the fire, homes in the area. We need to make sure that we've got an alert system that works. And the system we have now is over 50 years old. Social media has changed. I mean, we now have text messaging. You ought to be able to send out a text to everybody, let them know not only of the fire and the dangers, but alternate routes to get goods movement, to get emergency supplies to an area, or just to get people moving throughout the valley.
Yeah, a number of disasters. We just saw Tropical Storm Lee not too long ago. We've had the fires in Tehachapi just this past week. How would this alert system work? It sounds like you're trying to streamline operations here.
Well, we certainly want to streamline operations, but more importantly, we want to improve and integrate new technologies. I mean, the technologies that we're using right now are 50 years old. I mean, it's the beep on the TV system that is a very old system. Now with text messaging, we ought to be able to alert people instantaneously when there's a fire or an earthquake or whatever the natural disaster is.
How critical are bills like this in order to try to eliminate? Is it just that there's a lot of red tape in place right now that's keeping a system like this from being set up?
Red tape, but also authorization. So two different bills. One's dealing with the FEMA authorization. You've heard a lot recently about all of these different disasters and lack of funding or questions about funding. We want to make sure there are no questions dealing with FEMA. And so it's a bipartisan bill to reauthorize it to address all natural disasters across the nation. And the second bill, also a bipartisan bill, just to update technology and allow different system integration. Right now we don't have the integration of the cell phones and texting, and we want to integrate all levels of social media as well as radio and TV. So we have one updated system, as well as using the the big signs along the freeway that, if there's a child abduction, you see it on there, or the alerts to alert on a DUI. We ought to also be able to use those on alert for whatever the emergency is to let people know what's up ahead.
You were talking about upgrading the systems there, upgrading some of the technologies. Is that something that lawmakers can expect to foot, that taxpayers can expect to foot the bill for, or is that something that the companies would have to pay for? How would that be paid for? And how much would it cost?
Currently, there's no cost to the system. So, we're obviously looking for bills to be able to integrate technology, upgrade technology, and to be able to do it with the current funding levels. So, I think this is a great opportunity to do that, but certainly no cost to the taxpayer.
A lot of people are just wondering that after Katrina, why is it just that a system like this did not exist before?
That's a good question. I've been here for 7 months now, so we recognized it was something that needed to get done, and we looked at all of the different areas of the subcommittee that I chair, and this was one of the areas that we thought we could have an immediate impact on. Something, quite frankly, should have been done, quite some time ago. This is something that should be updated at least once a decade, but certainly, something that could be updated every. Technology continues to change. We as a government need to change with it.
Congressman Denham, while we've got you, I want to take the opportunity to also get your take. We've been talking so much about the president's job bill. He's been crisscrossing the country, trying to rally support from voters on that. What's your take on it so far? He's saying that he's even willing to let it be cut in pieces, just so long as portions of that jobs bill are passed.
I think that's an important piece. When the president initially brought this in front of Congress, that was his big sticking point, was all or nothing, pass it now. And now the big changes, he's willing to piecemeal it. I think that there's areas to agree where Republicans and Democrats can come together on some of the funding issues as well as some of the tax cuts. anything that we can do to get our country moving again. But the one thing that I've challenged the president on, if he's going to go out there and campaign on this, come to my district. I've already extended an invitation to him, sent him a letter, because in this jobs package that he's talking about, there's nothing in there for water, nothing in there for the Central Valley. I need him to come to the Central Valley rather than go to the Bay Area and fundraise. Come and see the devastation that you've caused in our community. Come and look at the bread lines. Work on the bread lines with me, seeing the families that are challenged with our water crisis.
And speaking of families that are struggling, yesterday the report came out. Census figures show 1 in 6 Americans live in poverty. What are you doing on Capitol Hill to help more families find jobs?
We continue to pass bill after bill out of the House and into the Senate on jobs specifically. For me, personally, the biggest issue for me is our natural resources, whether we're talking oil on the Gulf or in North Dakota, or water in my area, timber up in the mountains. I mean, timber is a perfect example of our mountain communities being able to harvest the timber, creating jobs, creating clean energy, and making sure that we don't have these devastating fires. I mean, that is sitting there. Those forests will burn up if we don't harvest those logs. So utilizing our natural resources will put people back to work, and certainly in our farming communities, utilizing our water productively, we can have the greatest farmland in the world.
All right, Congressman Jeff Denham, from representing the 19th District, live with us out of Washington, D.C. We thank you so much for your time as you get back.